Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly appreciated. Thank you to my subscribers and followers. I appreciate your support. Please let your friends and family know about it as well. And if you somehow come across the channel, please don't leave without subscribing and hit the likes. Muchly aids the channel in growth. And as we have designed a channel here for over 2 years that is uh, reputable as far, and we hold ourselves to not focusing on rumor but on facts for when they fall. So we don't just try to get you here on clickbait or false stories. We stick to the what's actually going on in Habs world and review the games. All right, we're going to get to it. It is January 29th, 2024. We had Winnipeg in town last night, and that did not spell the answer to the Habs' problems, unfortunately. And this is a really, when I look at it, this is a team we can beat. There's no doubt in my mind. It's just the way we're playing. Anyway, the score was 4-1. That was the final for the Jets. Just a lot of defensive issues with Montreal right now, and it just looks like there's a lot of I don't know if it's old habits, but either way, it's disorganization within their own end, not keeping their assignments. Anyway, so Kyle Connor, of course, was the biggest threat, and he scored twice. Hellebuck, of course, who is a seasoned goaltender, in my opinion, and when the playoffs comes, he's not all that. Made 24 saves as the Winnipeg Jets won their fourth in a row, 4-1 over the Montreal Canadiens Tuesday night. Mark Scheifele also scored. Ramis Capere, boy, he is something else. The speed, that's a player you really got to watch. Added an empty net goal. Gabriel Velarde provided 2 assists. Slavkovsky gave Montreal an early lead. Sam Montembeault stopped 20 shots, but the Canadiens lost their third in a row. That's not good. Consecutive after 10 of their previous 13 games. First star, undoubtedly, Kyle Connor, 2 goals, +3. Velarde had a great game for them. Good setup, man. 2 assists, +2. Mark Scheifele, 1 goal, +2. He had a strong game for them as well. So, scoring summary starts off as at 11:03. Things look great. Montreal come out flying in the first period. Slavkovsky gets his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. 9-1 doing their thing. 15:36. Kyle Connor comes back and ties this thing up, assisted by Velarde and DeMello. Second period comes, and 10:44, Mark Scheifele, 29th, assisted by Velarde and Morrissey. So they go up 2-1. Then at the end of the second, 19:58, the daggers put in Montreal's heart. Kyle Connors scores, assisted by David Gustafson. Third period, 18:15, Ramis Capari, assisted by Ellers and Perfetti with the empty net goal. But this kid's got some wheels. He was somebody we had to watch. This was a close in the stat department as far as like shots, 25-24. Winnipeg's managed to keep teams under 30 shots a game, and they do it again. But Winnipeg didn't even need that many shots to defeat us. 24-25. Montreal had 25 hits. Montreal out-hit them 40-13. Face-offs 35-26 for the Habs. Power play Habs. This was the strength of the game for the Habs, and it's a shame they couldn't feed off of that because Winnipeg was 0 for 3 on the power play. We didn't even get a power play, and that's pretty sad. Giveaways or penalty minutes were 6 for the Habs. Again, something we have to watch because you can't take penalties against teams like this. Giveaways for 17 apiece. Takeaways 8-5 for the Habs. Block shots 20-14 for the Jets. Really, this was unfortunately. I don't know what's going on with the Habs. They juggled the defensive pairings as we seen last night. We ended up seeing Matheson with Carrier. That did not work out whatsoever. I feel so bad for him. And you know what? I want to say this: Habs fans, back off. We know there are players that have bad games and stuff, and you can be upset over them not coverage, but you don't have to get personal on guys. You got to see the positives of Mike Matheson as well. Yes, okay, so he's in a bit of a stinker at the moment. Okay, no problem. But the attacks, this man does not deserve the attacks he's gotten from our fan base. So, Habs fans, you need to back off. Back off. Let's be mature. Um, this guy has done a lot of good for the Habs as well. His defensive game is not his strength. We know that. And you could see, I felt so bad for him last night, stumbling over his feet there, tripped over himself. And you could see it's the nerves. The nerves are, and then, unfortunately, he has 2 missed assignments. So what? The fan base going to attack him again? Because that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It really is. Grow up. Let's act like a mature fan base that makes us different than others and support our players. This was a team loss, and it's the way they're playing defensively. This wasn't just on 1 or 2 players. I mean, come on, why? Let's be frank. I love Hudson too, but he's taking a lot of punishment and making mistakes as well. Why is the fan base not on him? Why? Because I get it, he produces, but it's still, you got to do your evaluations of players subjectively and fairly, because let's understand, as much as we love Hudson, he's making mistakes as well. We have other defense carriers making mistakes. Gooley's making mistakes. All of our defensive made mistakes. However, our third pairing seems to be our strongest pairing at the moment. Gooley looked all right last night, thank God, because his game before he didn't to me until the game got going. Well, his first period, the previous game was horrible, and then he got going. But this game, and now, of course, we may have lost him with him going down awkwardly in the Jets' end. Let's pray to God that's not severe, but I got a bad feeling this might be some time. The way he was holding that knee, it didn't look good. This is my concern with Gooley. Is he injury prone? That's my question with Gooley. As much as I love him, the amount of injuries this guy gets is concerning. So let's hope it's not serious, because to me, if he's out any time, you're going to be calling up Struble to take that place. There's no doubt in my mind. But however, we got to realize it's the way it's our forwards too. I mean, I see Nick Suzuki, as much as I love him. I see Doc at times. I see Newhook quite a bit, not covering men in their own zone. Pizzetta, unfortunately, just seems to be a step behind a lot of NHL. He had a better game last night, though. I'll credit him with that. That was probably his best performance, and you got to give it to him, because he's got to get up to speed with the rest of the guys. But boy, are they missing Heineman. Um, to me, this is, like I said, easily this team. You can tell we could beat this team. I mean, Hellebuck is a goaltender that performs in the season. Playoffs come, this team falls apart. So Winnipeg for me is a team we should be beating. We should be. They're not. Is They do this the last few years. They jump up to the top of the league, and then they fall apart in the playoffs. There's a lot of holes in their game, especially defensively. Um, we just did not capitalize. Like, I mean, look at the amount of shots. Nick Suzuki missed one. Cole Caulfield missed one. Andy missed one. What can you say? The amount of missed shots, missed opportunities, that's been happening to us a lot. Those come up. We had a fabulous first period, but we knew Winnipeg was going to adjust for the second. But there's no way we should fall off the map the way we're falling off the map in the second period. I mean, it just, yeah, I don't get it. Um, I don't like the switch up of the pairings, because it didn't work whatsoever. It seemed to be more detrimental. I mean, I hate to say it, but these guys, although maybe with time, who knows? I mean, what do you do with the defensive pairings at the moment? We know Carrier has brought in quite a positive difference to our defense that so they can operate. They're getting the puck out at times, but it's the way when there's any cycling down, they are not. They lose their man, missed assignments, and then you got guys who don't even know uh, when they're freed up where to go. And that you could see that collectively in front of the net for the Habs men. I seen Susie on the Shifley goal. It was definitely on Carrier, but Susie could have helped too. The two of them. I looked at those two. They could have stopped. They could have stopped Shifley. First two goals. Hate to say it. My I feel so bad for him. Matheson lost his assignment. One he didn't even know where the player was, and that was the second one. And the guy was free to the left of the net, and he was on the right side where Carrier was doing the job with the man in front. First goal, same deal, loses the man. There's just got to be a better response. But again, just because a guy makes one or two mistakes, they got to adjust them, and that's the bottom dollar. That doesn't get entitle Habs fans to abuse a player the way they are. You can be okay. You're not happy with their performance. That's fine. Keep it respectable, but you don't have to crucify the guy. Okay, let's get real. I'd like to see like that was something back in the day. Habs fans were known for really supporting their team. Yes, you could be upset with performances, but you could say things respectfully, and you didn't need to crucify a guy. That's got to change. That's what makes Habs fans different. So we need to show that. So that I want to see corrected. And I do want to apologize to the Al McNeil family. I meant to put out my condolences because this guy was such a part of the Montreal Canadiens organization back in the day. So to the family, my apologies from Center Heights. Things happened, and I was going on a trip. Yeah, I was just overwhelmed. My total sympathies are with the family. I pray that you know, you get through this somehow. It's a difficult time for you, I know. After that, yeah, we have to get this Habs team is very quickly falling out of place, and they're going to if they don't correct this soon. And it's going to be a problem if we lose Caden Gooley, because I don't care what goaltenders in the net, the way we're performing since Toronto's game, and I called it out before anybody even mentioned it. I said since Toronto, that night of the Leafs game, this team hasn't been the same. I don't know if it blew our confidence or what, but they got to get their act back together. Especially if you want to. I mean, you're in the mix, but if you really truly want to put the heat on for a wild card position, you're going to start. You can't. You're a 3-game losing streak now. You can't have those. That we haven't had one of those in a bit, and it's not the time to have one. It's going to be so crucial, the games up into the break and even the couple games right after. So basically, the month of February is going to be huge on the Habs. But I think the next 3 to 4 games, personally, right before the break, are going to tell the tale very quickly whether we're a part of this battle for the wild card or not. And none of us really knows. We appreciate what the Habs have done during December and January, but it started to come apart, of course. Once we played the Leafs, we seem to not be able to keep it together because I don't care what goaltender's in the net right now for Montreal. Because we can have our opinions on the goaltenders. I don't think either one of them are getting enough assistance to win games the way this team is playing defensively. And it's not what I mean when I say defensively. It's our forwards aren't doing their job again as well as defensemen picking up their assignments. There's too many times what you're always seeing is there's one or two guys that, whether it be a defenseman or a forward, that are always trying to catch up to somebody. They don't have their man. And that's the difference. They were ahead of that when they were playing well. They weren't chasing around. They were winning the battles, and they were right on top of guys, not behind them. And they weren't second guessing. They're second guessing right now, and it's got to get corrected. I don't know what the answer is going to be, but again, there's positives. This team is. We didn't think, they played so poorly in the first quarter. We didn't think they'd be in this position, but they got themselves in this position. I'm proud of that. However, if they want to truly stay in the race, they're going to have to get their act together and quickly. Because here's the sad part of it: the Wilds have our number, and we got them next. I don't like it whatsoever. Um, and then it's Anaheim and San Jose. Those are our best chances to pull out a couple of victories before the break. But even at that, Anaheim just had a big win last night, so can't take them for granted. So we got to get our act together. There's no and ifs and buts, and it's really defensive play. And honestly, I think now it's when the coaching staff says that's fine when you're playing well. I give it to you. Want to talk to the captain and let him say, okay, let's give the guys days off. When you're playing poorly, you need your practices. The time off is over. You need to practice because I wasn't um, overly impressed with the Doc line. I like Doc's play. I found Lana was on and off. New Hook was got the speed, but defensively, I just don't like his game and the boards. But he worked. But that line was stronger the game before. Um, I don't know what happened to, like you say, it was Pizzetta upped his game, so that was positive. Galley and Dvorak, I just really didn't notice him, so maybe that's a good thing. Uh, Evans and Armia, the usual, you notice them, but we really need Heineman back, and I think he will be back because I think what we got to be entering the third week soon here. And that's what they were approximating his injury would be. Let's hope he's back next week because, boy, this team, they just need the consistency of that line because that line just doesn't have the effectiveness without that piece. And it would be that way with any one of those three guys going down. That's why I want them to re-sign Evans and Armia because people aren't giving Armia the credit. That guy's been phenomenal penalty kill wise and has been the way he controls the puck and protects it. He's been a major weapon for us as far as controlling games. He's in there. He's been a different player since coming back from Laval, and we need to recognize that. And I think you want that line together next season. When you finally get a good line together, you want to keep that together, and I'd keep that line. Maybe you got to you sign Evans for the long term, less money. You sign Armia for shorter terms, maybe 1 to 2 years at a time only, and you go short with him. But yeah, I think you got to keep the two of them. David Savard, I like his play, and I feel bad. Like I said, I'm starting to think this team's a road team. I think they're too tentative at home and they just seem to not be able to recover when they're at home. I think they're a bundle. I think nerves and pressure get to them when they're at home. I think the signs are clearly starting to show that. This team plays so much better on the road, and they're really starting to look like a road team, but they have to find a way to start winning at home. You can't go on just winning in one part of the aspects of it, just on road games. You can't thrive off that. You got to get an even kilter going, and let's hope things get worked out. There's things coming. We know the trade deadline's coming. I don't foresee, like Jeff Gordon said, I don't foresee, and he told us all, I don't foresee Montreal making any outrageous moves. I think the only guy that really you may see moved is Dvorak, and I really think everybody else is pretty much going to be in place. And they may try to sign everybody else that's on the and do the same thing with Savard as you do with Armia. Just sign them short-term uh, deals, 1 to 2 years, maybe 1 year at a time, because he's too important for this team. Even and you'd only get something like a third-round pick. It's really not worth getting rid of him. So at that, I want to thank you for following, but please let's be respectful. We know the team is struggling, and like I say, it's really all you got to count your forwards in that defensive zone too, because they're a part of it. They're part of the issue. Like they get the team is getting the puck out at times. It's just once there's any bit of cycle going and somebody loses an assignment, they're just in a disaster zone. It's like people start responding and not knowing what they got to do. So let's hope they get out of that funk, because they need lots of practice again to get back to what they were doing. We know they can do it. They just got to start believing that they can do it. And I don't like I don't think Minnesota's the answer to our problems, especially if Fleury ends up playing that game. He's got our number too. So anyway, thank you for watching. You've seen it here at Center Heist Productions. Please hit the subscribe, like, share it, tell your friends and family about it. God bless you. We'll catch you in the next review tomorrow night against the Wild, and let's pray for a miracle, because they got to turn this. You can't go into slides too long, and we're already in a 3-game slide. I don't like it. It is what it is, though. God bless.